Okay, you ready? Right, so basically this is an exhibition of my owl paintings, and I keep doing owl paintings, and I keep coming back to this theme. And what happened was I work at Oxfam, and I get brooches and I get things come in the box at Oxfam, and I use them in the painting. So this one was a couple of brooches. There's that one, and then there's this one over here, which is another brooch, and they were 2 hours, and they sort of represented for me the summer park scene and the autumn park scene as well. So that's those two paintings. This one was a little earring that I just found on the road. So it's an owl earring, but I thought it looked a bit like a thing that you'd find in a window, especially around Islington, the parks, and so it looked like a stained glass window. And then I found these two stained glass owls as well. They were little stakes, so I put them like they're in a window, and I'd spent quite a lot of time sketching out of doors. So I did this as a park scene. This one up here is based on walks along the railway line, and again this is an owl along the railway line, and there's a capital ring walk that goes right around the city. And this one is actually based on Gary Newman. It's a song called Fakes and Lies, and it's the owls of This Is Who You Are, but it's a sort of it's all reference to Gary Newman. So you've got the car, and then you've got Splinter, and Wheel Glass, and then you've got the electric pioneers, our friends Electric, and it was a sort of reference, but it's also quite an ecological painting, and I liked its sort of ghostly hand. It's almost like you can see the bones in its hands. It's like a ghostly hand, and again, so it's sort of making a sort of reference to the connectedness of life and earth, and quite ecological paintings. And this one, I also found this little brooch, it's a little whale brooch at Oxfam, and it looked like the sort of thing you might see outside the seaside cafe. And I've been to the Isle of Wight, and the ships as well, which all the ropes and pulleys on the ship, you know, again, it was a symbol for me. It's like the earth is the ship in space, and all our connectedness to life, and it's called Strings Attached as well, and the sort of web of life. And the owl is a symbol, obviously, of Athena, the goddess Athena, and she's the goddess of wisdom and strategy and political and military strategy. She's also associated with the olive branch, and there's a story that both the god of the sea, Poseidon, were competing. She was competing with Poseidon for the city of Athens, who was going to be the patron of the city, and he sent a brackish stream while she sent the olive tree. And the olive tree, she taught them how to grow olives and get the oil from olives and press the olives, and she became the patron of the city, so it was Athens. Now in this one, I looked at a lot of Greek garden sculpture. I looked at a lot of Greek sculptures of Athena, and the original sculpture, one of them, she has a figure, a Nike figure, which is a winged figure in her hand, because she was the goddess of military strategy and victory. So, but I changed it to a butterfly. It's an red admiral, and that's because it's a reference again to sailing. And that's because they would say prayers when they were sailing, you know, trying to get through the storms and things. And I think it's a bit of like an offering to Athena, because I think we need a goddess of military wisdom at the moment, and what's going on, which leads me to this top painting over here, which is a recent one I've done about Palestine, and I've been on the protests recently. And this one's called White Wall Gallery, and I did one called Visions in Blue, which was based on Richard Hamilton's painting War Games, which was a painting of a TV set, and on the screen was what was called the sand pit. It was on Newsnight during the Gulf War, and they would use it to sort of move the little models around to show what was going on in the Gulf War. And underneath the television screen you could see blood dripping down. So it was, my painting was, it's based on, Richard Hamilton was very famous for his very cool modernist interiors, and just what makes today's home so different, so special, is very famous collage he did. And so my last painting on Palestine Visions in Blue is all about settlement building and the fact that the Palestinians can't get building materials. And it had it's sort of modernist cliche, so it had the steel and glass TV table, very uncluttered, which obviously most people's TV tables don't look anything like that. There's stuff with books, you know, and stuff. And also it had a Picasso print in the background, and it was based on the modernist interior. This one is based on another sort of modernist cliche, and that's the White Wall Gallery, and it's called White Wall Gallery, and it came from a book on street art in Palestine, and around the separation barrier around Bethlehem and Gaza. And one of the things that's being said is that Gaza was like the largest open-air prison in the world, and it's also like the largest open-air gallery in the world as well. And because they've got so many beautiful paintings and graffiti on the walls. And you sometimes get these paintings which are from the like 17th, 18th century, where it's an art dealer, and in the background you've got all the different paintings, little paintings reproduced, and it's the interior of the art dealer's premises. And there's one in the National Gallery, I think it's a Venetian art dealer, and it's by an anonymous artist. So I took this from a book on street art, and I like the fact they're all anonymous artists. The other thing is I was kind of, now not all those pictures are together on the same stretch of wall, they're in different parts of the wall, and they've been painted at different times. The other thing was, I mean, it's a really horrific thing that's happening, and one of the most terrible things is they can't bury their dead. So I was sort of thinking about maybe, especially the children in the hospitals, what would you have at a funeral for a child? You might have like a couple of toys. So you've got the two donkeys there, and they're obviously painted in a completely different context. They've got little tails on their backs and they're linking their tails. I really like that. Then you might have Disney figures, so you've got the Pinocchio, and if you notice, his nose is a cruise missile, so it's obviously a satirical painting about you know, US imperialism, but you have the Disney figures. Then you've got the robot, which the child might have a toy robot, and you might put those items, if the child had died in the hospital, around his bedside, and then you'd have them at his funeral. And then there's you've got the flower, and you've got maybe a heart-shaped wreath, there's a heart there, and then you've got the priest or the rabbi or the vicar saying how they've gone to heaven. And all cultures have sort of ceremonialised death at some point. So the fact, one of the most horrific things is the fact that so many people are buried under the rubble and they can't give them a proper funeral. So although this painting was done as graffiti and it was a sort of, you know, looking to escape over the wall and done in a different context, I was interested in the context and meaning. So perhaps now it's become a sort of picture for a sort of type of funeral almost. And I also noticed there was some black stones in the rubble, and you get war memorials which are like a ring of stones. So there's a war memorial at Islington Town Hall, or the memorial at Madingley, and I thought that made like a sort of funeral memorial, a ring of stones, it's like a memorial as well. So that's the painting. I've been quite on the marches and quite politically active over Palestine. I mean, you know, it's just absolutely horrific. I mean, there's even reports of operations being done without anaesthetic, and so these are all the owl paintings. So it's like a sort of prayer to the goddess of wisdom at the moment, and military strategy, which I think we need to make peace, with the olive branch, which I think we need to make this prayer at the moment, and that's other paintings of ours that I've done over the years.